Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Margaret Duffy, and today I wanted to talk about burnout and also the other side of that. Like, how do we get ourselves back? How do we re-establish ourselves and give ourselves what we need to go into our next thing, the thing we want to create for our lives, and to have the lives that we want and have the life that we deserve? So, it's very easy. I think as women, the divine feminine that all of us have within us, it is so easy for us to get burnt out because we have been taught to give, to share, to be caring, to be of resource to other people. And we're just, as moms, as partners, as workers, we're just used to giving and giving and giving. And we're burnt out. Everybody that I talk to is, like, done. I'm done. I don't wanna do this anymore. I'm tired of always feeling like it's me that's the one that's, filling the cups of everyone around me or being asked to. And so, you know, really what we're being called to do is to fill our own cup. So that is my message, right? How do we fill our own cup? How do we put ourselves first? How do we look at ourselves and think, I deserve to to have bliss. I deserve joy in my life. I deserve contentment. And I deserve to go start a YouTube channel, to go uh write a book, to go do something that I'm passionate about, to start painting, whatever your thing is, that you deserve the ability to do that and to have support and to have love around it. And so, you know, we have to get better at boundaries. We have to get better at having strict boundaries. We need to get better at looking at, are we getting rest? Are we nurturing ourselves? And this is one thing that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to share tools with you guys, but it is rest. It is drinking enough water. It is eating foods that nourish us and support us. It's getting movement, but not in the way that it's overwhelming and you feel like it's just one more thing you have to do. It's connecting with ourselves, prioritizing ourselves, and then kind of reevaluating, right? What do we value? What do we value and how do we anchor into what we value? And one of the things that I think is so important that we value is we value us at the beginning of the line, not halfway in the middle or at the end. We value ourselves as the most important person in our life. So the way we recover, the way we fill our cup is that we start to separate, right? We don't look at ourselves and think, I've got to be productive. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. And that's what makes me worthy, that makes me valuable, that makes me deserving, right? No, our worth, our value is there. It's intrinsic. It is a part of us. It's why we're so confused. It's why we get so kind of crumpled up in a ball because we know we are deserving and we know deep in our hearts, we know our value, but we don't live it because the world tells us the way to be is to be productive. The way to be is to do. The way to be is to give. And I'm saying the way to be is to start receiving, to start taking in the bounty, to start filling our own cup first before we do anything else. And then you can have, right? You can have a healthy balance between your life, your work, your family, your partner. You can have a balance to it because you've started to integrate yourself in the equation. You're starting to say, I'm important, I'm a value. And the way that we take care of ourselves is we need daily routines. If you are honest with yourselves, if everybody's honest with themselves, every day we're hard on ourselves. Every day we have a voice within ourselves that's telling us we're not living up to where we should be, or we're not fitting in, or we're all alone, or we're not worthy of being cared for, or there's not enough to go around, and we have this person we have to give to, and this person we have to give to, and this expectation we have to meet, so there's no way to make room for myself. And people in our life, it's going to make them feel uncomfortable when we start changing. It is going to make them feel uncomfortable. So we have to realize that. But we can reintroduce joy. We can reintroduce rest. We can take care of ourselves. We can introduce habits and a daily routine. It's critical that we have our daily habits that support our life. And it's not like you have to do them all at once, and it's not like you have to do every one of them perfectly, but just, you know, maybe drinking warm water with lemon in the morning and starting your day off differently than having a cup of coffee. It's small little changes. Okay. And this is the thing, you guys, there's so much support out there. So not everybody can afford to go to somebody and talk to somebody and get that personal one-on-one. If you can, I always am one of these people that says, get support, talk to people, share where you're at, get on a group. There's so much on YouTube right now. There's so much professional support. There's so much spiritual support. There's so much about like how do you set small goals, and it is something that I will do on my channel and plan to do, because every day I do this. I have to figure out where I'm at, what I'm doing, if you're up against your edge, if you're pushing on this idea of making room for yourself, and you're pushing on this idea, or not pushing, because that's the wrong feeling that comes from it. But when you're reaching toward what you want, when you're reaching towards this new way of being, you're going to get resistance. We're going to get resistance from ourselves, because I think so many of us, I think for women right now, we're more afraid of success and being in our greatness than we're afraid of failure. I don't think we're as afraid of failure as we are of stepping into our bliss and really living into who we are. And that we just have to have a lot of self-compassion for ourselves. We need to start setting goals, making small changes within our life, setting an idea of where we want and an intention of what we want. And then we slowly move in that direction. We don't have to be there overnight. We don't have to, it's the journey. There's no there to be in the first place. And then it's the journey. It is the loving ourselves through everything. It is making room, setting the intention to make room for yourself, to make room for everything that you have to give. That's what counts. That's what matters. And as you do that, you will get better at boundaries with people. You will get better at saying no. Practice in front of the mirror. Practice with your friends. Practice. I'm going to practice my no meter. I'm going to practice saying no. It will make a difference to practice out loud, when we practice with friends, when we practice like with our kids, or we practice with somebody who's safe, right? And we practice saying things. We open the door. We kind of give it power and possibility. So when you say no, stand up, say no, say it to the mirror, say it. Somebody's going to ask me this, and I'm going to be honest about it. And I'm going to say no, because I am creating boundaries that support me, that support my unfolding. Okay. And when we start doing that, this is the thing. When we're giving and giving and giving, we get out of alignment. We get out of alignment with ourselves. We're not connected to our values. We're not connected to our integrity. So we don't live in integrity. When I was giving and giving and giving, like sometimes I did, like I compost, and sometimes I didn't even have time to empty the compost bin because so it would stay full and then I couldn't compost. And that broke my heart, right? Because it's so important to me to be able to compost. But I didn't make room for it because I was giving so much that by the time I got home, I was exhausted and I had kids. And so I mean, if you're exhausted, but you still have kids and you still have things you need to do. And it wasn't until I shifted and made room for myself because I reevaluated what was important to me. I reevaluated my goals. I reevaluated what kept me in integrity in my life and how I eat and that I have movement and that I take my dog for a walk. That I value that because I value my dog, but I have to make room for it and I have to set boundaries. So sometimes I have to say no to things because I won't get home and walk my dog because I'm gonna do something for someone. And I'm okay with myself if I go, "Okay, sometimes I'm not gonna make that. Sometimes I'm not gonna do that." And I'm gonna say yes because that is a value to me. And I'll promise my dog I'll take her for a walk in the morning, or I take her for a little walk, but it's just around the block or whatever it is, right? But we're constantly shifting. We're constantly figuring out where we are within that. And if we're going to put ourselves first, we have to look at ourselves, look at our health, look at what we're supporting within us, and look at what we're ignoring or not giving energy to or not not giving support. And we know that it has meaning in our life. We know that it has value in our life. So, one of the things for me is all of this. When I started looking at my burnout, when I started looking at where I was not living in alignment with myself, I had to really reconnect to a part of me. I don't even think that I was happy. I don't even think that I knew how to generate joy. I was definitely not living in and doing anything creative or anything that kind of filled my cup up and brought me joy in the moment because I was just constantly running. And I think so many of us do this, and we're so busy that we don't stop enough to think about what would bring us joy. And the thing is, writing that book or starting your own YouTube channel, which you can totally do, those things, right? Getting support to move forward, getting support to put ourselves first, right? It's not always going to be easy, but, but getting support to do that, getting people who believe in us, there's so much that's possible. Now, I just wanna reflect back, right? It's very easy for us to be burnt out. It's very easy for us to not be going and doing the next thing that's gonna really fill our cup because we don't feel like we have the time, and we don't feel like we have the energy, and we don't feel like we have the support. So there's a lot of things, and it looks so insurmountable. It looks like it's so big and that we can't. But I will tell you that tiny, small steps. Every time you set an intention in the morning, you look in the mirror and you tell yourself, I'm setting an intention to put you first. I am setting an intention to love you through this whole day. I am setting an intention to hear what you need, to honor what you need, and to live into that. And I'm also setting the intention to be gentle, to be curious about how I could do that. How can I do that? Instead of being judgmental, I'm going to be curious. I'm going to be gentle and I'm going to try to remain calm and loving towards myself during the whole thing. And sometimes we'll be right on the mark. and it'll feel so good, and sometimes we're not gonna get it right on the mark, and yet we're human. We're these incredible beings, and so we just allow ourselves to have an imperfect day. We allow ourselves to have a bump in the road. We allow ourselves to be patient, calm, loving, and generative for the next moment. So, I hope that that gives you something to work on this week, right? Share with me where you are on this in this process. Are where's your support coming from? What's your goal? What do you want to do? What is your goal? Where are you going with this? And how are you going to sustain it? Are you developing daily practices? Are you doing the things that you need to do to generate the support within yourself to move forward? And I will see you guys next time. Bye.